1986. The Big Daddy. Watch him. Blows it all the way over.
What happens when you build a dragster so dangerous it literally changes an entire sport forever? Well, that's exactly what happened with Big Daddy Don Garlett's Swamp Rat 12, a nitromethane-powered death trap that nearly killed its own creator in the most spectacular way possible. This is the tale of a machine so violent that its own destruction revolutionized motorsports as we know it. So buckle up and get ready for one heck of a ride, because today we're diving deep into the legend of the most dangerous dragster known to mankind.
In '62, he drove for Connie Coletta. And it was a milestone moment indeed, the first ever 180, and it was Don Garlett's.
By the late 1960s, drag racing had officially crossed the line from dangerous to downright suicidal. We're talking about nitromethane-powered monsters that could blast past 200 miles per hour in under 6 seconds. Machines that made modern top fuel cars look tame in comparison. The thing is, back then, every single dragster followed the same deadly formula. Massive engine up front, driver sitting behind it, and enough explosive power to level a city block. While other racers were starting to whisper about rear-engine designs, Don Garlett's, drag racing's ultimate mad scientist, wasn't buying into the hype just yet. He was a front-engine purist, a man who believed that real power belonged where you could see it, smell it, and feel its heat burning your face. But this stubborn loyalty to tradition was about to cost him dearly, and in the process, revolutionize the entire sport. When Garlett's and his crew unleashed Swamp Rat 12 onto the world, they weren't just building another dragster. They were creating a mechanical apocalypse. This beast packed a supercharged, nitromethane-guzzling power plant that pumped out over 1,500 horsepower, enough to make grown men take several steps back when it fired up. The thing shook the earth like an angry god, belching flames and making sounds that belonged more in a war zone than on a racetrack. But here's the kicker. Beneath that sleek, menacing body lurked a fatal design flaw that had been haunting front-engine dragsters for years. The driver sat directly behind the transmission and clutch assembly, essentially using these critical components as a shield. It was like playing Russian roulette with physics, and Garlett's was about to lose in the most spectacular way possible. Every run was a gamble, every launch a potential death sentence. But nobody just how dangerous this setup really was. March 8, 1970. Lions Drag Strip in Long Beach, California. A date that would be burned into drag racing history forever. Garlett's strapped himself into Swamp Rat 12 for what seemed like just another routine run, but fate had other plans. As he hammered the throttle and the beast screamed down the strip, reaching incredible speeds, disaster struck without warning. The clutch exploded with the force of a bomb, instantly transforming the dragster from a precision racing machine into a flying debris field. The explosion was so violent it literally ripped the car in half, sending Garlett's tumbling down the track in a mangled mess of steel and fury. But the real horror wasn't the destroyed car. It was what happened to the man inside. The blast severed part of his right foot and left him bleeding, broken, and fighting for his life on the asphalt of Lions Drag Strip. Here's the brutal truth that nobody wanted to face. Garlett's crash wasn't just bad luck or a freak accident. It was inevitable. The front-engine design that dominated drag racing was fundamentally flawed, turning every driver into a sitting duck behind a ticking time bomb. When that clutch let go, there was nowhere for all that explosive energy to go except straight through the cockpit. Lying in that hospital bed, his racing career seemingly over, Garlett's had a moment of crystal-clear clarity. The sport he loved was built on a foundation of death traps, and he was living proof of just how deadly these machines could be. But instead of walking away, Big Daddy did what legends do. He started sketching. While his body healed, his mind was already designing the solution. A rear-engine dragster that would put the driver in front of the engine, not behind the most dangerous components. What happened next was nothing short of revolutionary. While critics laughed and called him crazy, Garlits poured his heart and soul into creating Swamp Rat 14, the rear-engine machine that would make his old front-engine monsters obsolete overnight. Working with his team, including Tom Lemons and Connie Swingle, they weren't just building a new car, they were rewriting the rules of physics and safety. When Swamp Rat the 14th debuted in 1971, the entire drag racing world held its breath. Track officials tried to ban it, competitors refused to race against it, and everyone thought Garlits had finally lost his mind. But when the smoke cleared and the times were posted, the revolution was complete. This rear-engine freak show wasn't just safer. It was faster, more stable, and more effective than anything the sport had ever seen. Swamp Rat. 12's legacy isn't measured in victories or records. It's measured in the lives it saved through its own destruction. That catastrophic crash at Lions didn't just end one car's career. It killed an entire era of dangerous front-engine design. Every modern top-fuel dragster, every pro-modified car, every serious drag racing machine built today follows the rear-engine blueprint that was born from Garlits' blood and broken bones. The irony is beautiful in its own twisted way. The most dangerous dragster ever built became the catalyst for making the sport infinitely safer. Swamp Rat 12 was the last of its kind, the final front-engine monster to terrorize the sport before progress took over. Its destruction marked the end of drag racing's most reckless era and the beginning of a new age where drivers could actually expect to walk away from their crashes. Here's what Big Daddy himself would tell you about that fateful day. He never blamed Swamp Rat 12 for trying to kill him. In his mind, the machine was just doing what machines do, pushing the absolute limits of what's physically possible. You have to respect the power, Garlits always said. And brother, he learned that lesson the hard way. The truth is, Swamp Rat 12 wasn't evil or cursed. It was just a product of its time, built when raw power mattered more than safety, when pushing boundaries meant accepting deadly consequences. That machine, and the horrific crash it caused, taught the entire sport the most important lesson in motorsports history. Sometimes the only way forward is through fire, blood, and a near-death experience that changes everything. So the next time you watch a top-fuel dragster scream down the track with its engine safely behind the driver, remember Swamp Rat 12, the dangerous machine that had to destroy itself to save the sport we love. That's the legacy of true innovation, folks, and that's why Don Garlits will forever be known as the man who literally bled for progress. What other legendary drag racing stories would you like us to cover next? Drop your suggestions in the comments below, and check Pit Lane for more incredible stories from the golden age of drag racing.